Hello, it's your girl Triple B, and I'm back. Yeah, I've been taking some long pauses, but let's get right back on our journey and let's see what happened next. Okay, so we left off where I encountered this crazy hospital that was trying to kill me. And I said I was not going back, so now it was time for me to find someplace else. And so I had to contact my ride or die again, Carlisa Wright Waters. And I was like, Carlisa, I need another hospital. I need somewhere else to stay. And so I called her, and she was living in Louisiana at the time. Now I'm in Florida, in Miami, and we were staying with Joseph Evans Jr. But now, if I needed somewhere to stay where I could have someone that would take care of me, take me around to the hospitals when I need my treatments, I needed to be near Carlisa. And so we talked about it. She said she'd have to speak to her husband and get back to me. And I think it was the next day, or probably a day or two, she called back and she's like, okay, it's a go. You can come and stay with us, because he had a job in Louisiana and they were going to be there for a few months. And so I was like, yay, finally, I'm on the move again. This is literally a journey. Like, I'm literally traveling, trying to find places to deal with this disease. And so my friend was like, okay, girl, I'm going to come for you and your sister, and we're going to drive back down to Louisiana. And that is exactly what she did. She came for me, and we had to stay in Florida for a little bit before we made our journey to Louisiana. And in the meantime, Carlisa's sister, Antonia Wilson, she was at this church called The Fountain, and she asked me to do 2 specials. And I was like, okay, sure. You know, after all, I made a promise to God that I will sing or do whatever it is I need to do in order to serve others, in order to help others. And so Sabbath came, and I sang This Too Shall Pass by Yolanda Adams and My Redeemer Lives. Now, after I finished singing, the pastor called me back up, and he was like, I see you traveling. I see these feet going places and just ministering to people. And I was like, okay. And then he did something that I've never done to me before. He actually started brushing my feet, like wiping it. And he was like, yeah, these feet, they're going to go and you're going to be ministering to others. You are going to be traveling places. And I was like, yes, I accept it. And then he asked all of the women who may have been experiencing similar to what I've been experiencing. And when I looked around, it's like more than half of the church came up. Like, there were so many women around me, and everybody surrounded me. They began praying for me. And it felt so, I don't know, not alone. Like, there are so many people out there going through what I'm going through. And they all looked happy, they all looked healthy. But deep down, they were going through something. And it was kind of comforting to know that I could actually witness to people and make them feel better, you know? So that was a great experience for me. God works in mysterious ways. Finally, the day came, and we drove down to Louisiana, and here I was in a new place, trying to find a new hospital, someplace where it made sense. While in Louisiana, of course, there began the multiple calls to my insurance company, and then the searching for the hospital, and this went on for at least a month. And finally, we came upon this hospital called the Mary Bird Perkins Hospital. And I was told to see Frederick Billings. Mary Bird Perkins Hospital is a beautiful hospital. I'm talking like, I thought I was going to a hotel. It was so beautiful, big and clean, at least 3 stories. And I'm like, wow, okay, now this is what I'm talking about. And so I made my first appointment to go and see Dr. Billings and find out what was the next step. And then I reflected and I'm like, you know, the pastor did tell me I'll be traveling. So I went from the Bahamas to Miami. Then we drove on down to Louisiana, and who knows what's coming next. But right now, we're in Louisiana. And let's see what happened in Louisiana. Okay, so we're at the Mary Bird Perkins Hospital, and I tried to get some information from the Bahamas, from the doctors here, because he needed to see something to know, you know, where we at. That didn't happen. For some reason, I just couldn't get my information to the doctor. And so he said, you know what, let's do our own test. And that's exactly what he did. He did his own test. So I had tests like, I had a bone scan, I had the CT, the PET scan, the mugger scan. Like, what is a mugger? Mug? Only mugger I know is either you're drinking or one, or you're getting mugged. Understand? And then I also had to do some mammograms. Now, I can't even remember all the names of these tests that he did, but he did a whole lot. Like, he was so thorough, and then, you know, also the blood work. So let's talk about this mugger scan. Like, anybody know what a mugger scan is? Let me tell you. And this mugger scan was one of the more painful ones for me. So with the mugger scan, what they do, let me make sure I say this right, because I had to write that down. And it was something to see how strong your heart is. Now, nobody ever tested that out before they gave me anything. So apparently I must have had a good heart, because, you know, the people before that tried to kill me. Okay, so what is done is they take some of your own blood, then they mix it with some kind of solution, and then they inject it back into you. And then you wait for about 20 minutes. No, after they take your blood, mix it with the solution, you wait for 20 minutes, and then they inject it back into you. And then the machine is supposed to show how strong your heart is pumping blood back and forth. Okay, so we tried this. At the end of it, he was like, okay, so I don't even see your heart. Where your heart is? What do you mean where my heart is? So it didn't work for me. And he was like, okay, we're going to have to do this again tomorrow. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Okay, so I come back the next day to start this process all again, because my vein had collapsed at first. The needle was too big. And then I remembered, hey, I'm supposed to tell these people I need a butterfly needle that you use on children, because my veins are very, very tiny. So when they tried the big needle, that didn't work. But when we did it again with the butterfly needle, that worked. And he sent me home and he said, I will call you with the results. 2 weeks went by, and then they finally got a call and they were like, everything is excellent. And I was like, praise the Lord. But like, did I really have to go through that twice? Like, I had to go through all that pain and suffering to get this information? Really? Did I? So we did all these tests, and I'm figuring, okay, so we good, we got a solution, we know what we're gonna do. And then he goes, no, we need to do a few more tests. I'm like, what other tests? He said, I need to know your tumor, if it responds to hormones. So the other test I had to do was, I had to get an estrogen and progesterone receptor, a HER2 new oncogene. Listen, I don't know if I'm saying these right, but I had to do these kinds of things. And I had to wait again to see what the results was going to be. So, I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah, so we need to find out if my tumor was hormonal, basically. And in the meantime, that's going to take another couple weeks. So I just continued my singing wherever Carlisa went to her church, different churches, because they also played for churches. And most of the times when I go there and everybody finds out that I sing, I have to sing. And this is where I started singing the song My Redeemer Lives to almost every church that I went to. And it was well received. And, you know, even though I was going through all of this, it felt like lots of adventure. You know, I get to travel places, see people, interact with people, minister to people. It was good in spite of all that I was going through. But before I go, I just want to say a positive attitude, a merry heart does well. If you have any kind of illness, your body responds to illnesses when you are depressed. You kind of do more damage than anything else. I know it's kind of hard sometimes for some things, but you have to remember to remain positive. Fight. Stay around positive people. It's so important to have supportive people around. Positive, supportive people. And being with Carlisa, that is what I got. I never was made to feel like I'm sick or I'm about to die or something, you know. It just felt like I was on a vacation, kind of, but I just need to, instead of shopping for clothes, I was shopping for hospitals, you know, shopping and doing some little tests. So just remember that, stay positive, be happy, believe in God, pray, you know, and helping others also helps you. Instead of looking at yourself and saying, oh, woe is me, help somebody out today. So until next time, I'll see you later.